You know, early 2026 wasn't just another year of AI getting a little bit better. It was something else entirely. It was a fundamental shift in the paradigm, the moment where the very way we talk to and use artificial intelligence started to change, and change fast. So let's get into what made this moment such a massive leap forward.
For years, our whole relationship with AI has been through chatbots, right? You type a prompt, you get a response. Super simple. But here's the thing. When you try to give it a truly complex, real-world task, something that needs planning and research and using different tools, that whole model starts to show its cracks. Which makes you wonder, is the era of the simple chatbot already over?
And honestly, the answer looks like a big yes, because the pace of innovation has just been, well, insane. Just look at this timeline. In July 2025, Grok 4 shows up with tools built right in. 4 months later, boom, 4.1 cuts down hallucinations by a ton. By Christmas, Musk is already hyping up the next big thing. Then, January 2026, Alibaba just drops a bomb with Qwen 3. And all of this culminates in early 2026 when we see this mad dash as Grok 4.20, GPT-5.2, and Kimi K2.5 all hit the scene. It's a full-on arms race, and the new weapon of choice is a totally new kind of AI architecture.
Okay, so to get a handle on all this chaos, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about the dawn of these new AI agents and the architecture that makes them tick. Then, we'll meet the 5 big players, the flagships that are leading the charge. After that, we'll see how they stack up against each other in a little clash of the titans. And finally, and maybe most importantly, we'll give you a real, practical roadmap for how you can start using all this new power.
All right, first up, let's dig into the engine behind this whole revolution, the new AI architecture. We're talking about the rise of the swarm. This is really the key idea you need to grasp, because we are moving away from a single AI brain to something way more dynamic and, frankly, way more powerful.
So let's put a pin in this term, AI agent swarm. What does it actually mean? Well, instead of one AI trying to do everything, you have a leader AI, kind of like a project manager. It looks at a really complex problem, breaks it down into smaller, bite-sized pieces, and then, and this is the magic part, it spins up a whole team of specialized subagents on the fly to handle all those pieces at the same time. It's the difference between one person trying to build a car and having a perfectly coordinated assembly line.
And this isn't just some theory either. Get a load of this number. Kimi K2.5 can create and manage a swarm of up to 100 of these subagents for a single task. 100. So imagine asking it to build a market analysis report. It doesn't do it one step at a time. It could spin up 50 agents to research competitors and another 50 to analyze market data, all at once.
And that's where you see the real-world power. A swarm like that can make up to 1,500 coordinated tool calls. That's things like searching the web, running code, or accessing a database. The result? A task that would have taken a single AI hours now gets done up to 4.5 times faster. That's a ridiculous leap in just pure speed and capability.
You know, Grok has this really cool way of making this whole swarm idea super easy to understand. They call it a team of experts. It's brilliant. You've got Harper, who's your dedicated researcher digging up all the facts. Then there's Benjamin, the logician, who's handling all the math and code. You've got Lucas, the creative mind, who figures out how to explain everything in a way that makes sense. And then, at the top, you have Grok itself, the team leader, listening to everyone's input and making the final call. It's not a black box anymore. It's a team.
Okay, so now that we get the whole agent swarm concept, let's meet the Big Five. These are the flagship models, the architects that are literally building this new agent era from the ground up.
So first, we've got 2 titans with totally different game plans. On one side, you have DeepSeek-V3.2, the powerhouse of the open source community. Its whole thing is being super efficient. It uses a clever trick called Sparse Attention to only focus on the most important bits of data, which saves a ton of time and energy. Then on the other side, you have Alibaba's Qwen 3 Max Thinking. Its goal is just raw, unadulterated reasoning power. It uses something called test time scaling, which basically means when it hits a tough problem, it just thinks harder, dedicating more power to crack it.
Next up, you've got the established pro and the creative wildcard. GPT-5.2 is positioned as the ultimate all-arounder for professionals. It's built for serious, complex work, and it's especially good at long-term planning. I mean, it's beating human professionals at their own jobs over 70% of the time. Then you have Kimi K2.5, which is this amazing visual agent. It's a master at blending vision with coding, using its agent swarm to do crazy things like rebuilding a website just by watching a video of it.
And rounding out our 5 is Grok 4.20, the real-time polymath. This version is a big pivot for them. The old Grok was kind of a conversational diplomat. This new one is a polymath, totally focused on hard skills. We're talking coding, physics, finance. And instead of just having a giant memory, it uses smart summarization to keep conversations on track. Plus, it has this rumored killer feature called the reality engine, which could let it fact-check its own answers against live data. Pretty cool.
So we've met our 5 champions. Now it's time to see what they can really do. Let's put them through the ringer, the benchmark gauntlet, and see what the cold, hard data says about who comes out on top.
First up is a test called Humanity's Last Exam, HLA for short. It's designed to be Google-proof, meaning you can't cheat. You need genuine, multi-step reasoning to solve the problems. And wow, look at this chart. Alibaba's Qwen 3 isn't just winning, it's winning by a lot, with a score of 58.3. That's a huge lead, and it really signals a massive jump in its ability to think through complex problems from scratch.
But hold on, it's not a blowout across the board. When we switch over to GPQA Diamond, which is all about PhD-level scientific knowledge, the race at the top is incredibly tight. Qwen3 and GPT-5.2 are practically in a dead heat, with scores of 92.8 and 92.4. It just goes to show how fierce the competition for high-level knowledge has become. It's anyone's game.
Now let's talk about a skill that pays the bills, coding. This benchmark, SE Bench Pro, tests how well these models can solve actual software problems from GitHub across a bunch of different programming languages. And here, GPT-5.2 edges out the competition with a 55.6% score, really cementing its reputation as a top-tier tool for professional developers.
Look, performance is one thing, but being able to actually afford that performance, that's another story. And this is where things get absolutely wild. Check out these prices. CUDA 3 Max Thinking, the model that just won that brutal reasoning test, costs just $1.20 per million input tokens. Its main competitors, they're charging $15. That's over 10 times more expensive. This isn't just a price drop, it's a bombshell. It's a move to make elite AI accessible to everyone.
Okay, so we've got this mind-blowing new power, and it's getting cheaper every day. So that brings us to the most critical part of all of this. How can you actually use it? It's time to lay out your adoption roadmap to take you from just boosting your daily productivity all the way to full-scale production.
The big question then becomes, okay, this is all great, but where do I even start? How do I actually get my hands on this stuff and start using the power of these AI agents right now?
Well, I think the best way to look at it is a simple 3-step path. First, you start small. Augment the daily tasks you're already doing. From there, you graduate to automating entire complex workflows. And finally, the ultimate goal is to integrate these agents into real enterprise-level solutions.
So step 1 is the easy on-ramp. You can begin today with apps that already have this tech baked in. Take something like Neota. It's an AI that joins your Zoom or Teams calls, takes perfect notes, picks out all the action items, and then pushes them right into your project management tools. You can even chat with it afterwards to ask, hey, what did we decide about the budget? It's an instant productivity win.
Now, once you're used to that, you move to step 2, automating whole workflows. This is where tools like the Kimi K2.5 agent come in. This is not just a helper, it's a workhorse. You can tell it to write a 10,000-word report, build out a financial model in a spreadsheet, or even create a professional slide deck from scratch. It handles the entire A to Z process.
And that leads us to the final frontier, step 3, full enterprise integration. And this visual says it all. On the left, DeepSeek's agent was given a tough job. Plan a super detailed trip on a tight budget. And on the right, that's the custom set of software tools the AI built itself to solve the problem. It didn't just search for hotels, it literally built a Find Hotels by City tool. This is the endgame of the agent era, AIs that don't just use our tools, but build their own.
You know, all of this, these swarms, the automation, the custom tool building, it all leads to one really deep question. We've seen that the future of AI isn't one single superbrain, it's these coordinated teams of specialized agents. So as these AI teams get smarter and faster and more integrated into everything we do, what does that mean for us? When AIs are the ones working in teams, what does it even mean to be a human expert?